Happy Sunday. Welcome all the people here in Boca. Welcome all of you who are coming to us around the world. Let's get started with our affirmation so we can start this 2022 live with a deeper engraving in our mind the power of this phrase, the power of this consciousness. So we say it together. You have it on the screen here. Consciousness is everything. I raise my consciousness today to see the miracles and wonders of life. I commit myself to behave with greater love, compassion, and kindness towards all human beings. All right, so we're going to get started, yes? Okay, so just a quick reminder for those of you who are now joining us around the world, thank you for your continued support. It's the only way that we can continue the program, and not only that, but make it grow with your help and your support. For those of you who haven't heard yet, there is a Spiritual Sunday YouTube channel. So a lot of people who don't want to go on Facebook, you can just send them the link to get to the YouTube channel. And thank you for subscribing, because you know me in technology, they say the more people that will subscribe, the more people will be able to find us. And if it's improved your life like it's improved mine, we want a lot of people to find us. Okay, so let's start with like this. I was thinking a few things that I studied this last week, a few things I heard yesterday, so I want to share it with you. And I'm going to explain it, I hope, in a clear way, but it's, in essence, it's a deep concept. And every now and then it's good to really dig in deep, because it gets us to a new part of our soul. It awakens a new consciousness that, sometimes we can get caught in, the daily things we learn. Kabbalah 1, okay, pause, why is there a movie, things like that. But I want to go maybe a little deeper, because if you look around the world, you see the world needs it. The world needs us, because we have this awareness and this consciousness to be able to have a greater impact on others faster. Because I don't know about you, but I would like to see the end of pain, suffering, and death yesterday. Yes? Yeah. How about you guys out there? Yes? Let's see. Oh, here we go. Yes, exactly. So, and we have the ways and means to do it. So I want to start like this. It's a spiritual law. You cannot believe it. It's like people who don't want to believe gravity or electricity. They have the free will. They have the right to not believe it. That doesn't mean if they step off, let's not make it too hard, they step off a 1-foot block that they're going to float away because they don't believe in gravity. So the ultimate spiritual law, or the fundamental spiritual law of Kabbalah, says that in the endless world, before there was any physicality, before the Big Bang, the Creator created our soul and filled us already with 100% light. There's nothing we are missing. We have everything that we could ever imagine, and probably better than we could ever imagine, to have eternal bliss. Literally eternal bliss in every way, shape, or form. That's spiritual law. Nobody is devoid of it. Nobody doesn't have access to it. Nobody is not a perfect being of light. How we behave is our free will in this world. We can behave like a being of light. We can behave, unfortunately, not. And I don't think there's any of us who are watching or here present that could say, yes, 100% of the time we always act like a being of light. Is that a fair statement? They're not so sure over here. I don't want to admit it. It's tough to admit it. I get it. So we want to understand a little more depth of how the system works, of how you and I, as good people, great people, can actually be influenced to behave in a negative way, and what we can do about it, to be able to reveal all the light that the Creator gave us. So as we often speak about, the Kabbalists teach us that the Bible is true. The 5 books of Moses actually took place, those people existed, etc. But the more important part of it is what they did to show us, you and me, how to operate in the spiritual system of the universe. Have you ever not known how to do something? For me, it's always something here on the computer. So if I don't know how to do it, what do? I call up one of my kids, And I say, okay, explain to me how to do this. So in essence, they're telling me like which button to push or which thing to do, etc. So if you're following this analogy, that's Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and all those people in the Bible. They're doing it, but what he's telling me is how I, on my computer, even though he's in LA, let's say, and I'm here in Florida, he's telling me what I can do to operate with this system of technology to make my computer give me what I want it to give me. So the same thing, all of the biblical stories are people living the technology so we can have examples how to live and have this benefit of the light of all the wisdom that Kabbalah teaches us. The somewhat difference is we can't really talk, at least some of us, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to Moses, to Joshua, to the prophets like that. So we have to read the story. And as we've often talked about, the 5 books of Moses itself is written in a coded way. So we need the Zohar and the wisdom of the Kabbalists to unlock the code so that we can live it today. 2022, we just entered. We want to live it today and have all the blessings that they had. Moses, just by the way, because we're going to talk about him here in a second, Moses was probably the wealthiest man ever in history. Probably didn't think of him that way, did you? But if you think the Kabbalists write, again in simple terms, the 40 years in the desert, every time they needed gold, silver, bronze, wood, diamonds, whatever it was, God would tell Moses, here's a sapphire mine, go dig up the sapphires, and let's say with the 10 commandments, the 2 tablets, take a piece, put the 2 tablets. This is the 2 tablets you'll carry up Mount Sinai, and all the rest of the sapphire mine is yours. You need some gold? Okay, whatever the Israelites could give, but if you needed more, here's a gold mine. Take what you need for the construction of the tabernacle, etc., and the rest is yours. So he basically literally had access to and connection to all the resources in the world. So we want to get to a little bit of that story. Egypt, right? Do you remember the story? We're reading it now in the time frame, the Kabbalistic windows of time. We're reading about Egypt. So I want us to understand we're not talking about a country. We're not really talking about people, the Egyptians. We're talking about spiritual construct that, in essence, you and I are all of what we're about to talk about. So Egypt represents being addicted to and caught up in, a slave to, if you will, the physical material world. And here and there we've spoken about that. People who feel they're addicted to their car, right? Their car is like their grand possession. So nobody can drive it, nobody can touch it, etc., etc. So if you think in those terms, who's the owner? Is the human being owning the car, or is the car owning the person? And you go right down the line with the house, the job, friends, family, even people. There are television shows that use the name idol, right? And the newspapers say, oh, this is the idol, the music idol, this is the actor idol, this is the this idol, etc. Everyone an idol. What does that mean? Like in ancient times we perceive, meaning that person becomes an addictive substance, if you will, to some people. They're addicted to certain characters, certain actors, actresses, musicians, etc. They follow them. They got all their merchandise, etc., etc. So is the person who perceives that other one as an idol, are they free? No, they're under the control. They're addicted to, if you will, almost a slave of that person, their personality, their persona, etc., etc. So if you're getting the idea, this is Egypt. And you and I were trapped in the same way. And to some extent, we're already trapped. If you look at your life, I'm sure there's an extent that we're trapped. Okay, you got the idea. So who was Moses then? Moses, yes, he was a physical human being, but in this understanding for you and me, he is us. He is our spiritual part. He is our soul. He is the one that wants to be totally revealed, free from all the addictiveness, compulsiveness to the physical illusionary world. Doesn't mean, like I just started, Moses had great wealth, but the wealth did not possess him. He possessed the wealth. He made use of it to continue or to evolve into the fullest potential of Moses. And we want to do the same thing. So then we want to look at the interaction, if you will, Egypt, and we're going to get here in a moment to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and you and I, Moses, the part of us that is Moses. So in the original Hebrew of the Bible, of the 5 books of Moses, it says, God tells Moses, come to Pharaoh, right? This is just in the beginning of the plagues, right? There's going to be, Moses wants to free the Israelites from the slavery of Egypt, slavery from desire to save oneself alone, or the bondage we said, being possessed by our possessions instead of owners of them. So God says to Moses, come to Pharaoh, because I have put in Pharaoh they translated, the word is otiot. I have put inside Pharaoh, in the midst of him, I have put my otiot. Now they translate it as signs, okay? But it also is the word for letters. And as you and I, unless you're brand new, we understand these things that we call the Hebrew or the Aramaic letters. They are particles of the light of God. So what God is really telling Moses is, I have put letters, I have put light inside Pharaoh. So come to Pharaoh. You want to free the Israelites? You got to come to Pharaoh. So I want us to understand, what does that mean? What does it mean for us? So we have to understand the details of how we create our own prison, our own blockages, our own chaos and discord. So, the light of the Creator, infinite or finite? Let them hear you around the world. Infinite or finite? Infinite. Is there ever a moment that the light of the Creator is not shining from the upper worlds onto this world? So it's constantly shining. So you and I, what our work is to be channels of that light. Our soul is full, meaning there's a reservoir, if you will, above us, spiritually, that has our 100% light. We are the pipeline. And unfortunately, our physical being is like a faucet. You go home, hopefully your faucet, the water is not running, yes? But there's plenty of water waiting to come out of the faucet. You have to open up the valve. Then it allows the water to flow. And as the water goes out into your sink, there's more water coming in from the reservoir. So that's us. Now, what happens, unfortunately, and this is what I wanted you to grasp, hopefully it will be motivating and awakening a new awareness of how we are absolutely in control of our life and how we are in control of our spiritual evolution. So the light of the Creator shining on us, because that's the nature of the light. The light in our soul wants to shine out, to manifest all the blessings, health, peace, love, prosperity, guidance, protection, etc. But we have the ability of not opening that valve. So what the Kabbalists explain, there's light coming in. We're in a challenging situation. Somebody says something, does something that triggers a reactive negative emotion, feeling inside of us. Fear, guilt, anger, resentment, jealousy, judgment, etc. The light is shining on us. Now it's our choice. Can we reveal it, or do we reveal it by sharing? As we just affirmed, greater love, kindness, and compassion, greater care, greater apology, greater forgiveness. Or do we, and I'm using this specifically now, do we sin by doing something self-centered, negative, etc.? So I want to explain the idea of sin, because we all have some form of a religious connotation, but I want us to understand the spiritual understanding is much simpler and more powerful. The word in Hebrew for sin is averah, right? Averah, and they translate it a sin. But what is a sin really? I hope now you'll come to understand it with greater depth. The light's coming in. We have those two voices in our head. If you're new, go on Kabbalah.com, watch Kabbalah 1 so you'll understand it. We have the two voices. When a person listens to that parasitic voice called the ego, the opponent, and they act in a self-centered way, anger, jealousy, greed, as we mentioned, they are le'avir. They are transferring the light that's coming in instead of to a proper vessel, blessings, kindness, growing to our next spiritual level. We are transferring, passing that light over into the negativity, into the darkness. And we create a shell, a wall, that then is blocking our light from it being expressed. And it's as if we put that piece of our soul's light in a box. So in this case of Pharaoh, what God was telling Moses is all the light of redemption, the light of freedom, because we were in bondage to all this physical materiality, as we explained in the beginning. We are in bondage. So God's saying, hey, look, your light, you transferred it into Pharaoh. Or we could say, in our terms, if you're faced with a conflict with somebody and you react, scream and yell, angry, judgment, jealous, in essence, what we're doing is taking a piece of our soul's light and giving it to that person, putting it inside them. Now we wonder why we don't have greater happiness and joy. We push them away, we scream they got them out of our life, they no longer bother us. Yes, but we took a piece of our light, put it in a lockbox, and in essence, gave it to them. And now they're walking away with it. So we get instant gratification, but now we're with less light. And we feel that lack. Now, thank goodness, it doesn't physically stay with that person. But in essence, we put it in a lockbox, as we said, let's say fear. They did something, triggered our fear. We acted fearfully. We took some of our soul's pure light, locked it in a box of fear. So in essence, they walked away with it, but since it's our light, it kept being transferred to another situation that triggered us to be fearful, to another situation where a person did something and we heard some news and we were fearful. So it keeps being transferred, and this is why people have repetitive patterns of awakening fear inside of them. Fear that wakes up. They go to work, suddenly they hear the news, maybe the business is going to be sold and downsized. Fear wakes up. What about my job? What about the car I just bought? What about, the payments on this new furniture I just got, et cetera, et cetera. Or they meet somebody. They're so in love. They think they're in an exclusive relationship. And then they start to hear, the person may be on a dating website. They may be something else. Here come other emotions. And it keeps repeating over and over. So we want to understand what happens. But most important, Pharaoh, that metaphysical or metaphorical understanding construct, is where our light is being held. And that's why, like Moses, what did God tell Moses? You want to get your light back, the light of freedom from all your chaos? You got to face your Pharaoh. Go to Pharaoh, because the light is inside him. You got to face your... simple. You have a safe, what do they call it, a safety deposit box at the bank? Any of you? Yeah. So if you want to get access to what's there, what do you have to do? You can't just stay at home. You got to go to the bank. You got to face that box. You got to unlock it with the key, open it up, and take it out. So if you have to do that for just a safety deposit box, what about the light that's in our soul? That we've transferred, le'avir, we've transferred by our reactive behavior into that lockbox that keeps moving around, person to person, challenge to challenge, situation to situation. We got to go face it. You can't run away from it because it's our soul's light. I hope everyone's getting it. So now, how do we do this? What was Moses being told by God? Come to Pharaoh. Now, just a quick aside, and probably those of you who've learned in the center, you've heard this from the Rav and Karen, now Michael and Monica. In the Hebrew, it says, Bo al paro. The word bo means come. Most people think, and some of the translators actually say, God said to Moses, go to Pharaoh. Because if you go in the rest of the story, it's like, God is in the heavens and he's being directing Moses, I want you to go tell Pharaoh, let my people go, and this, that, and the other thing. So you think, go to Pharaoh. But the word is bo, meaning come. Anyone who knows a little Hebrew, it means simple. Come to Pharaoh. What the Kabbalist explaining is, we can't do it ourselves. What does come to Pharaoh mean? Come with me. That's what God is telling us, telling Moses, our Moses. Come with the light. You cannot open up that safety deposit box that you put your soul's light in without the help of the Creator, without realizing the only power we've got is the light that God put inside our soul. In a simple way, again, don't give me too many details, but you'll get the idea. You go to the safety deposit box, at least at my bank, you have one key and the bank has another key. And if the two keys aren't there, you can't get in. So in that similar way, I have to be willing to face my Pharaoh, face my own safety deposit box, that shell that's hiding my light of fear, jealousy, ego, insecurity, guilt, shame, etc. And it's essential to have the support of the light in all the ways we talk about, doing the scanning, 72 names, Ana B'Koach, all those tools that we learn. You got to put the two together. If you go and you think it's just me by myself, it's you by yourself with your brilliance and your power and your talent, etc., never work. Never work, because you're missing the other key. The box won't open. You could be right there. You can be standing in front of it. It won't open. Won't open. So now, how do we do this? So again, we'll understand what's going on in the world, why there's so much chaos. Like attracts like, so our soul wants, if you will, to get our light back, the light we've given away, because it's still our soul's light. No other person can actually take it away forever. Like we said, it goes in a box, and this one carries it, who gives it to the next one, to the next one, next one, which we'll get a little more into that in a second here. But it's our light, belongs to us. So there's two ways that we are given opportunity to take our light out of that safety deposit box, out of, if you will, really that prison, because we locked it up. There's one, which unfortunately is most of the world today, involuntary. What the Kabbalists teach and what we teach from Kabbalah 1 onward, our soul, our own soul, that wants its light to be revealed, to be manifest, it will guide you and me to challenging situations, difficult people, problems, traumatic experiences. Is that our soul will guide us to be in that situation, because that's where we have deposited our light. So do not look at those people and say, oh, they are the ones who are making you feel angry, jealous, etc., etc. Nobody can push your buttons if you don't have a button. So we've got to acknowledge we walked into that situation already with a button of whatever it is, insecurity, jealousy, judgment, fear, etc. And that situation, that person may have triggered it, pushed our button, but it's because our soul wants us to see, yes, here's where you put your light a week ago, 10 years ago, past lives, it's there. And that's the whole technology we call the proactive method from Kabbalah 1, how to extract the light. What I want us to understand is it's involuntary. That's why it just shows up. Look at the world today. Every challenge going on, in whatever frame it is and whatever part of the world, is each person's soul saying to that person, here's where your light is. So when the person triggers their anger or their fear or whatever it may be, it's in order to give the person themselves a wake-up. Well, you may have forgotten, but you deposited a piece of your soul's light in that box in a similar situation, but you covered your light with fear, sadness, insecurity, hopelessness, anger, etc., judgment, etc. So you have to take it back. So this is where if a person doesn't work to see that opportunity, it just keeps repeating. again and again and again. How many people have you talked to and said, nothing different in the world today. It's the same old, same old. History is full of all the fighting and the war and the hatred and the violence, and so it's no different. Hello? What is insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and over again, expect different results. Well, if we're doing the same thing, depositing our light through reactive behavior in more and more of those boxes, what do you expect to happen? The sad part is, it is getting worse. Why? Think in simple terms. If 8 billion people every day are depositing some of their light in a negative shell, in that negative safety deposit box, hello? There's 8 billion one day, just in simple terms. The second day there's 16 billion. The third day there's 24 billion. The fourth day there's 32 billion. It is getting worse because more and more people have been depositing over centuries, millennium, their light in those safety deposit boxes. So the universe involuntarily say, here, you've got to take it all back now. Take it all back. That's why it's as tough as it is and why it's worldwide. Up until these last few years, I don't think, and if you can think of something, please write me, because I don't know of anything that's ever literally been worldwide. World War I was not truly worldwide. World War II, we give it the name, it was not worldwide. These last 2 years, worldwide. Every country on earth. So we got to wake up and say, yes, it is getting stronger, more intense. It's not the same old, same old. It's more and more. The second way, which is what you and I learn here in the Kabbalah Center. How do we get our light back? How many of you, let me see. Let me give you a second here online. So I'm looking at the comments. Write one thing you know about yourself that's reactive. Please, write one thing. I won't say who you are, but I will read the comment. See who's willing. Otherwise, it's going to be you guys here. So pray that somebody puts something. Somebody. One thing you know about yourself. You guys could be thinking of it also. One thing. Hello? Okay, tell us one thing. One thing about you that you know is reactive. Fear. Here we go. Anger. Okay, so, and I happen to know she's one of our long time. Here we go. Here's a few now, they're getting there. All right? A little anger, no patience, jealousy. Thank you guys. Criticism, etc. So we know it. So we know it. So what's the second way? Voluntarily. Voluntarily. Oh, great. Short fuse. We can voluntarily go after it. Don't wait for your soul to guide you into troubled situations to then have the shock of that situation. Already set it up. If you know you have anger, or some of you wrote short fuse, etc. So voluntarily create your own challenging situation. Challenge yourself to be kinder, more compassionate, and more forgiving to a person, maybe you know, or the next person who shows up. You're already volunteering to go into that situation. Be kind, be more compassionate, be more tolerant, be more forgiving, more desire to help them out of their prison, to their anger. Now, as my teachers, the Rav and Karen always called it, you don't need the pound of flesh of the surprise attack and then have to share your light anyway. Decide. You know that annoying person at work? We go tomorrow, smile at them, be kind, say a nice word, buy them a cup of coffee. Voluntarily share uncomfortably. Because either way, involuntarily or voluntarily, that's the only thing we're here to do. Share strong enough to turn the darkness of your guilt, anger, jealousy, greed, ego, insecurity. Break that shell, let your light shine of kindness, love, generosity, compassion, forgiveness, tolerance. That's it. Either way, we're going to share uncomfortably to get out of our prison, to get out of those shells. Voluntarily, involuntarily. It's up to us. It's up to us. So remember, there's no way what are most people doing? No way out of this without revealing our light. No way to get through it. Because God gave us a soul full of light. We committed ourselves to come into this world and reveal it. So why do we see all this chaos? You get it? Because the involuntary coming again and again and again, but everybody, though many people still blaming everyone else. Well, if they didn't say that, I wouldn't feel bad. If they didn't do that, I wouldn't have been angry. If they didn't act that way, I wouldn't beat them up. Right? No, can't do that. You're saying you're not taking control over your life. And it's got to keep repeating because it's more deposit in that safety deposit box, and therefore more urgent that we take it back. So one of the things I heard yesterday from Michael Berg, those of you on Kabbalah.com, maybe you were listening. Again, it goes back to the story of Pharaoh and Moses. Moses is given by God. You know, how are you going to make them listen? Moses said, God, how are they going to listen to me? What can I do? I don't. So God says, you know the staff that you've got? The staff, he says, let it go on the ground. What happens? Turns into a snake. And I'll just give you the quick understanding, but because Michael Berg went through it quite a while to give us a lot of details. But in simple terms, the staff, and they call it the staff of God, with the name of God on it, it's, if you will, it's vertical. So it's a connection from us and our heart and soul to our pure self and the power of the Creator's infinite light in the upper world. It's like a direct line, pipeline. What is a snake? If you see a snake, as Michael Berg was saying yesterday, it always goes like this, twisting. It doesn't just go straight line. It twists sideways. And he was explaining what is that? That's where we're caught in the physicality. They're treating me nicely, okay, they're on my good list. Oh, the next day they're treating me badly, now they're on my bad list. And we do that, like this. And I had a discussion yesterday with a few people. What is chaos? What is chaos? If a person's life is all bad all the time, it may be bad, it may be uncomfortable, it may be terrible, but it's not chaos. Because when they wake up in the morning, they already know what the day is going to be. Bad. And they know all it's going to be is bad. So there's no chaos. Chaos is this, up and down, up and down. I can't tell what to do. I don't see the system. Bad people getting a lot of good things, good people getting a lot of bad things. What's the system? That's what chaos is. That's what chaos is. We try and diet and exercise and do all the right things. Nothing changes, right? Then you see people, they eat everything, and they're skinny as a rail. Where's the system? You understand? That's the confusion. That's chaos. Not just all bad. This world is not chaos. When we learn what we learn here in the Kabbalah Center, there's no chaos out there. We can see it like we're talking today. The same repetitive patterns, because their safety deposit box keeps directing them to be in the surrounding of those people who say nasty things, people who do bad things, hearing the news. They don't even have to be around people. They just hear the news. They hear a report about terrible things. Awaken all of their reactive behavior, all of their reactive feelings. There's your opportunity to take it back. Start sending light to the world. Don't react to it, because that's just taking more out of their soul and transferring it into that safety deposit box. So there's no chaos and confusion. We see it. Is there trouble and discord? Yes, but it's not confusing. Not if you're a student of the Kabbalah Center, because you can see through the illusion. You see the system and how it works. Troubling? Yes. Chaos? No. Chaos? No. So, going back to the stick. Here's the stick turned into a snake. Meaning, even to the extent that you and I still get caught up in a little bit of our reactivity, a little short-tempered, a little impatient, like you said, a little anger, getting upset at the kids when they don't listen, or other people when they don't listen, or people who don't do what I think is best for them, truly best for them, right? And they don't do it, then I get upset, all of that. That's the snake. So what did God tell Moses? And if you notice, the commentators say when it turned into a snake, Moses was a little shocked. And then what did he do? He had to grab the snake by the tail. And when he grabbed the snake by the tail, then it turned back into the staff, the rod that connected between the upper worlds and here, that connects us to our pure and perfect self. So it's the same thing. I had a discussion with somebody very dear to me, and they're telling me, you know, Chaim, sometimes it sounds like you're too much in the darkness, always talking about the darkness, the darkness, the darkness, the darkness, the darkness, right? Look at the trouble, look at this, look at this. So we had a conversation, which I'm sharing with you now. There was a time, admittedly, a few years back, and sort of at the beginning of this last 2-year process, where I was caught too much in it. A little disturbed, feeling a little bothered. Some of you I've shared some of my past lives, so I knew it was a lot of that coming up again. But I overcame that. I'm working through, I'd say, pretty far over that. But like I explained to this person, Rav Ashlag, the founder of the center, makes a very powerful statement. He says, truly spiritual people are the ones looking for their negativity. If you know the word, looking for their klipot. He says, when you can identify your negativity, it's as if it goes away. What does he mean? Because like we said, we all know we have the negativity. But what he explains is, when you and I truly can identify, that is, those of you who wrote, the intolerance, the impatience, the anger, the judgment, when we realize that is what's causing our pain, causing our chaos, causing our trouble, then it's as if it's gone. Like I often say, when you put your hand on a hot stove, how long does it take you to pull your hand off when you feel the heat? Instantly. That's the point. But most of us, or most people, still under the influence of that opponent, that parasite in their head. So when they're feeling troubled and they're feeling all the negativity and they're feeling bad, they got hundreds of people to blame. So they don't realize it's them who's got their hand and holding it on the hot stove. So they're burning, but they're blaming everybody else for their problem. So they're not going to get rid of it. No, you and I are learning. I am in control. It's my own actions that are causing my pain. Grab the snake by the tail. You got to grab the snake. We just said the snake is all the chaos and confusion, so you got to hold on to it. Or simpler, you ever called a repair person or took something to get repaired? What's the first thing they have to do if they're going to fix it? They got to find the problem. Oh, no, I don't want you to get into darkness. Don't deal with what's wrong with my computer, my phone, my whatever. Just fix it. Hello, let's not be foolish. You can't fix what you don't know is broken, or where or how it's broken. So we have to understand, and this was I explaining to that person. You have to touch it. You have to identify it. Wallowing in it, yes. As I admitted, there was a time, yes, I wallowed in it too much till I got smacked, if you will, from the upper worlds by my teachers. Wake up, gave me some particular examples, so I realized I'm wallowing in it. I shouldn't do that. But as all the great Kabbalists say, I have to identify the problem, then fix it. Share uncomfortably, share transformationally, bring more light out of my soul out into the world, so more of my 100% can flow in through me to my life. That's where we are, my friends. We should be able to see. So consciousness is everything. We could have similar conversation, one wallowing in the negativity and one identifying and then breaking through, turning on the light, which is the thing that will take away the darkness. So sort of in closing up here, we're trapped in a prison of our own making. And unfortunately, a lot of people, like the half full, half empty glass, a lot of people want to only look at the half full, right? Half full, half full, half full. Well, if you have 50% and you think 50% is 100%, then that person is going to be 50% of their life unfulfilled, because they're under the illusion that 50% is actually 100%. Same with the other. If a person is only looking at the darkness and they think that's the entire world, then they're, again, only going to feel 50% fulfilled because they're missing the other half. You and I are learning to see it's both, and then see the light part, expand the light so it will feel and take away the darkness from the other half. That's what we're learning here. But we've got to acknowledge we are trapped in a prison, in a shell of our own making. And as I shared, I don't know, a year ago maybe, I had an experience in a meditation. My shell told me when I touched it, and I saw what it was created by or of, it says, you created me, you can take me down. That's what I want us to be inspired to focus on. Turn on more light, the darkness will go away. And yes, as many people I've spoken with, it's painful. My process was painful to acknowledge it was my anger, my fear, my this, my that was causing my shell. Not easy, because it's easy to point out, no, it was my siblings, it was this one, it was that one, it was other people. Painful. And a lot of people don't want that pain. So what do? They let themselves be distracted. So there's a very nice story. You know, this king was having a war, whatever, years and years with this neighboring country. So he makes a proclamation, anyone who can come up with a strategy to win gets, 5 minutes in the treasury, the royal treasury. Okay, so this very poor man comes up with a winning strategy. So now all of a sudden the king is thinking, wait a second, he's got to give this guy 5 minutes in the treasury. What are we going to do about that? Who knows what he could take? So the king investigates this person, and comes the day, right? And let's say it's a, 500-foot hallway to get to the treasury. So he finds out about this person that he likes music. So he starts him as they're ready to say, okay, here's your 5 minutes, open up the door, and he starts walking in. Suddenly, there's a 3-piece band, and it's playing the guy's favorite music, and he stops for a minute, gets caught up, and he hasn't heard this for a while. And then suddenly he realizes, wait a second, his time is going. So he starts, walking faster down the hallway. Now, 5-piece band, some more music. He gets caught up in again, right? And then he wakes up, and you get the part, by the time he gets to the door of the treasury, his 5 minutes are up. That's you and I. That's what we let that opponent in our head do, distract us, right? We'll be distracted by all the things that make us feel good, so we don't have to acknowledge and face and confront our snake, the pain of what happened to us growing up, the pain of what's happened to us recently, that we've locked away in a prison, and we don't want to go there. So we leave it on the side, and we just want to see beauty. Like we were looking at the half empty, the darkness. No, we don't want to go there. Painful, hurts. We want to just see all the good stuff in the half full. But our soul is demanding that we reclaim that other half. So we cannot. So we have to understand that you and I right now, we're on a path to God's treasury, which ultimately is heaven on earth. We, according to the Kabbalistic calculation, we're 97% of the way there. So we're like just a foot away from the door. The opponent, that adversary in each one of our heads, is trying to distract us in all the ways, whether it's look at those terrible people out there doing dastardly things, or whether it's let's look and see what we can do, maybe we'll help. And I'm not saying these are bad, please don't misconstrue it. We'll help the environment, we'll help, certain diseases, etc. But as you and I learn here in the Kabbalah Center, if we don't get rid of the source of all the chaos, which is that parasite, it's a finite energy that's been put to peace in each of us. So the more each of us transform and take back some of the light we've given to that adversary, we can make all of its power disappear. But it's going to distract us by doing what looks like good things, and it is. You get rid of a disease, great, wonderful. A lot of people won't suffer. But sadly, what does history show us? Get rid of one disease, whoop, boom, another one pops up. Stop one war, peace for a little while, then suddenly there's another conflict, right? Look at America. America's enemies, Germany, Japan. Now what happened, whatever we are 80 years later? Now we're all buddies. Hello, let's wake up. And now there's other enemies to fight. The Kabbalah Center, as the Kabbalists are telling us, you remove that darkness called the angel of death, then you removed all the chaos of disease, hunger, violence, greed, mistreatment. People talk about, child abuse. And I've shared with you along the way, that for me, that's the ultimate. Child abuse. But any abuse, abusing, women, men, children, whatever it is, animals, plants, etc. Abuse is abuse. You get rid of the angel of death, that adversary, it all disappears. Because people, if we extract from us that parasite, then the only voice we'll hear in our head is the voice of the Creator telling us how to do more good things, because we are perceiving our piece of the treasury, the wealth, happiness, joy, prosperity, great relationships, etc., that we will extract or we will experience in that treasury. That's what we want to focus on. So yes, we have to notice the darkness, notice the discord, and then shine more light, and shine more light. So we're 97% of the way. Our soul is coming out. The key is not to be fragmented. And so I want to remind us, if you read the biblical code, as we came out of the endless world, there was only one being created. Because there's only one soul. We have, over the millennium, extended, if you will, into 8 billion physical bodies, but it's still only one. So if we really want to be free, and we really want all the blessings of that Creator's treasury, then we have to open our heart and our soul to feel the pain of other people who are trapped, realizing they are us. So we're not really feeling their pain per se. We're feeling the pain of our soul, that in essence we have given away, or if you will, extended in a similar box as they are. We have fear, they have fear. We have jealousy, they have jealousy. We have sadness, they have sadness. So we can ignore it, or we can open up and realize, if I'm helping them, and I just want to remind you, this for me is one of the most powerful benefits of the Karen Berg Scholarship. And many of you have been on it, right? Where people donate. For every $100 you donate, you are supporting, you are, if you will, subsidizing scholarship, one person to take a Kabbalah 1 course. That means for every $100 we donate, one person is becoming free from their prison. And there's no way that we can free other people without freeing ourselves. The sad part is, when a person tries to only free themselves, then the other people are not free, and they themselves are not really free. So it's our time, it's our turn to start thinking like Moses. Moses told God, I want to remove all the pain and suffering. And what did God tell Moses? Go face Pharaoh, because it's in Pharaoh where you've put your light. So today, it's time for us to wake up, to say, you know what? I'm willing to face the pain. I'm willing to break down that wall. I'm willing to go through whatever discomfort that is and share in ways I've never shared with people I've never shared before. And again, for if you're new, doesn't mean you have to hang out with all those people who are still behaving badly. But if I want to be free from my prison and even help them be more free from their prison, I've got to shine light on them. I've got to be able to help bring the people who want to come to learn Kabbalah, support them to come learn, and more people sending light out there, the faster we reach the heart and soul of people, because it goes from heart to heart, soul to soul. And if we're freeing them and we're becoming free, then like Moses, we will be able to remove all the light from Pharaoh. We'll be able to remove all the energy we've given over millennium to the angel of death. And when the angel of death disappears, in simplest terms, if there's no angel of death, then we all have eternal, blessed life. God bless. Okay. So this is the way you can start. Take a moment, those of you who are here. This is the time that we do our offering, because we can't do this without you, right? I wish I could say we could, but unfortunately we can't yet. So hopefully soon there'll be enough donations coming our way. I just turn it, there we go. That we'll be able to spread all the Zohar that we need, finish off all the chaos, and the angel of death will disappear. So meanwhile, we make that effort now to just bless it, more consciousness. So those of you who are online, I've posted the giving site. Let's just hold your offering in your hand. We know that the money it's the vessel, and the energy that we fill it with is the energy that it will not only reach out to the heart and soul of the other parts of us, but it will also extend and bring more light and blessing to our own lives. So we just put our love, our light, our blessing in this gift, in this offering, reminding ourselves again, strengthening our certainty, our awareness that we are just vessels, conduits. We don't own our money, talent, abilities. They are given to us by the Creator to use, to free others and ourselves from the prisons that we've created by listening and following that opponent, its temptations, its direction, its influence. So by helping others, by spreading this wisdom and the tools of the Zohar, we are removing the power of the darkness by turning on greater and greater light, knowing that the darkness cannot fight the light. It simply disappears in the face of the light. And so we inject from our soul's light more effort, more energy into this gift, envisioning our life being filled with more light, greater clarity, guidance, love, peace, harmony, and unity. Feeling the heart and soul of other people as we're opening up our own. Being willing to walk side by side with those who are in need by feeling their pain, acknowledging ours of a similar nature, then using our tools, shining the light out to all the world, influencing everyone to move up to the next notch of their soul's capability, manifesting more of their soul's potential, and bringing greater blessings and peace and harmony to the world. And together we say, Amen. So I want to thank all of you who are joining us online, all of you who are here. Thank you. It's great to see you. May we make 2022 the end of all chaos. No reason we can't do it. We have the tools, we have the technology. We just need to all work together to make it happen. So those of you online, have a blessed day, evening, morning, wherever you may be, and an amazing week. And please write, let me know how your process is going. Let me know if you have questions. Sometimes it's the questions that I get online that inspires me what I'm going to share the next Spiritual Sunday. And if any of you are in the area or even not, because now we understand the power of the internet, but you'd like to have an introductory class with some of your friends or whatever, we can arrange that also. So please contact me for that, and we can talk about how we can make that happen. Have a blessed day and a blessed week, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you for joining us. If you liked what you saw, subscribe to this channel that you'll be notified when we post new videos. Share the video with your friends, they can also benefit. And check out the website, www.kabbalah.com, that's Kabbalah, for hundreds of articles and classes. Wish you an amazing day, and God bless.